Where is Daredevil?
I'm right here. Don't miss the return of Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again.
So what's next?
I feel liberated.
We're gonna take this city back.
Over medicated.
In an all-new season, now streaming only on Disney+.
They're hunting us. It's time we started hunting them.
I can work with that.
That nobody gives.
This should be tons of fun.
Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again, now streaming only on Disney+.
Hello and welcome to Shy Talk, an Irish history podcast. Here's an episode we did with Cork comedian Roger O'Sullivan a couple of weeks ago. You may remember Roger. We did an episode with Roger years ago. The live one would have been Cork and some other bits. But this is an episode we did a while ago on the Rainbow Coalition government of the 90s that Roger wanted to talk about. So here it is. And Roger is doing a show. If you're living in Dublin, he's doing a show on the Grand Social on Friday, which I believe is tomorrow, maybe by the time you're listening to this, the 17th of April. And I will be there supporting him as well. So that'll be fun. You should go to that if you're listening to this in time. And yeah, this is a very fun episode. This is a section of the episode. This is the section that deals with the Rainbow Coalition government. But there's more of it over on Head Stuff Plus. If you're enjoying this kind of a crack, you can go listen to more of it over on Head Stuff Plus. We talked about the recent winner of the XL tournament, an Irishman. Putting their name there on the international map, and Selfield, Roger's fears about divorce growing up as a kid, and lots of other things that were very interesting. So you can go over and listen to that and watch it. You can watch the whole thing on Headstuff Plus. You can watch this bit of it. It's on Spotify. We're trying video stuff, you know. That's what everyone wants these days, I think. Or maybe no one wants it, and Spotify has just decided you want it, but it's happening now. We're also going to put more stuff on YouTube. But anyway, listen, enjoy this bit of the episode. We'll be back with more Pierce stuff next week. Go see Roger's show if you're around on Friday. And we also have shows coming up relatively soon. We've got 2 shows in Dublin at the start of May as part of the Culture Date with Dublin 8 Festival. Dublin 8's massive, and we're doing 2 shows on that. We've got on the 6th of May, we're doing a 1926 kind of reeling in the years type show. We're going to do a review of 1926 in the Fumbly Stables, which is a beautiful venue, and we're going to be doing the whole reenactment of, there's going to be food and actors and all sorts of things, all the sort of stuff from 1926, and myself and Jason are going to run through the events of the year. And then the day afterwards, on the 7th of May, we are in Rascal's Brewery in Inchicore, and we're doing the Big Bag of Cans Film Festival, which is a thing I've been I think I just thought it was a funny idea for a thing ages ago, and now it's happening. And that's going to be a look at all of the things, of which there are many, that were filmed around Dublin 8. So stuff that was set in Dublin 8, stuff that was filmed in Dublin 8, which includes Kilmainham Jail, which has a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of interesting movie history with it. We're going to be showing some clips and talking through different bits, and just having a nice time. So there's tickets for both of those in the link for this description, actually. That's where I'll put it. And on our Instagram and different bits that we have. But anyway, listen, enjoy this episode. Come see us live at some of those events. Yep, goodbye.
Which is why I picked the topic for
I was about to say, it's like a beautiful segue. It's about half an hour.
Yeah. But the topic was, this is definitely like the nichest topic. Well, this is also, just before we started recording, you were saying you were talking to Angola last night. And his topic, he didn't even pick. I think me and you like emerged from the night. And, we were drinking, then he came down to us and we were like, oh, do you want to do this podcast? And what's your favorite movie? And he said In Bruges. And then we were like, all right, and then ran away. Because once you get the S, just disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then we didn't even talk about the movie. But usually it's that kind of level of aspect of Irish culture. But you went and picked the 1995 Rainbow Coalition of Ireland.
Yeah.
Running from 95 to December 94 to 97.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you picked it because you were reading about it that day.
Yeah. Literally, I'd gone on like the Wikipedia page of like, this is the rabbit hole that I'd gone down.
Yeah.
I'd been like, oh, children's allowance. Like
Yeah.
that's a nice program.
That is.
You know, that's always something that like it always just seemed like, you know, was just an objectively good thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I wonder how that came in and like what reforms and stuff. Then one of the reforms linked to the Rainbow Coalition. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, the Rainbow Coalition. Oh, I don't really know much about this. And then that's literally when you were like, oh, what topic would you like to do for the podcast? I'm like, I'll tell you, the Wikipedia page I'm on right now.
Which, I mean, I don't want to fact check you, but that's because you messaged me like 2 weeks after. I was like, what do you want to do? And then 2 weeks later, you messaged me back.
Yeah.
With the Rainbow Coalition.
No, so that's true. It's when I remembered the message.
Yeah.
And because we're also like ADH,
Yeah.
riddle brains.
You have to just go. When you remember something, you need to do it then and there, or else it's gone again. Yeah.
So you have like object permanence.
Yeah.
Of like just of a dog. So
Yeah.
when you see the message becomes real again. And you go,
Yeah.
oh shit! Oh yeah, Kevin messaged me. And I
Yeah,
go,
which
Kevin,
is-
Kevin, I'm looking at the Rainbow Coalition. And this definitely will be a long-held interest. This won't be transient.
I need to message him now, or I'll forget it exists. But I will talk about it for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
That's
But-
object permanence is how you separate consciousness. From. It's how you tell babies from dogs.
Yeah.
And it's something that most comedians don't have.
No, most comedians are dogs on that.
on the
spectrum.
scale.
Yeah.
They fail the basic.
They failed the baby test. They're not babies.
Even a baby knows not to say the N word on stage.
Yeah. I do. One of the things that is fascinating about the Rainbow Coalition, though, it is that so Labour were propping up the government beforehand.
Yes.
Yeah, with Fianna Fáil.
Yeah. And then they'd gone no, like they basically like pulled or the government like collapsed under.
So it's the Fianna Fáil Labour government. We did a lot. We covered a lot of this stuff on the Bertie Harden series, but we kind of did it from Bertie's point of view.
Yeah, we kind of we glossed over a lot of the Rainbow Coalition because it was like Bertie's out.
Yeah.
And now Bertie's back in.
Yeah.
It was more. This period was more focused on like because all these enemies they all ganged up on him basically. But it's Labour propping up Fianna Fáil. Albert Rounds is in charge of Fianna Fáil, and there's a series of scandals around. Do you know anything about like the Larry Goodman beef tribunals?
No, I don't know about the beef. I saw the term today.
Yeah.
And I went, God, that's evocative, but I don't know of what.
It's it's one we haven't really touched upon because he's my neighbour.
No.
Yeah, he's like a local baron. I say we haven't touched upon, but I've said this exact bit so many times.
Yeah.
But
And I've said it's the only person
Yes.
Kevin's dad has ever asked him not to talk about.
because he's still like, but this is how big of a businessman he was. The beef tribunal. I think I said this in some recent episode recently, but as far as I remember, there's like in that point in the early 90s, the EU was trying to figure out how to like the fact that some countries how to figure out the open market. Some countries are going to be better at producing stuff than other countries, and it's going to destroy industry in different countries who can't compete.
Yeah.
Like Polish wine can't compete with French wine and all this sort of stuff. And Irish stuff was dairy and beef. So they come up with some weird solution where they're like, you make the beef, you make the dairy, but don't put it on the open market. We'll pay you for it and just put it in a warehouse somewhere.
Oh, this
until
is
we
like
figure it out.
Butter Mountains. and
Exactly.
stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Wine lakes and all this sort of stuff. So Larry's actually, he didn't know about this. His company, a rotten egg, a bad apple, some rogue agent.
Yeah, one bad actor.
One bad actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Mr. J episode.
We got him. The one bad. Someone just on their own merit completely came up with an idea of all this beef is lying around here, and we can't sell it on the market, but we're getting paid for it once. Why not get paid twice? So he decided to sell it, but you can't sell it on markets where people are going to see it. So you need to go a little covert. So your Libyas, your Irans, behind the Iron Curtain, countries that have embargoes on it. A lot of these countries also wanted something called halal meat, and they thought, what's that? And it turns out it's an extra $5 a pound. So they put some halal stickers, they changed dates and sent it off to Russia. And when it was found out, so this is part of the tribunals is looking into all of this. But not even beef, but specifically just Goodman beef made up 5% of Ireland's GDP at that time. So literally, it's such a funny thing, like, a decade later, the banks are too big to fail and you're so used to it being associated with like big financial institutions. This is a man from Louth with so many cows the government just had to be like, and he's like dealing with Iran during like, you know, crazy stuff. I don't know, it was definitely Libya, and I'm pretty sure like behind Russia and stuff, like huge international embargoes, and we couldn't do anything because he was too big.
This is why Ireland is class.
Yeah.
Right? Because Ireland is a country that has somehow become a developed nation.
Yeah.
But up until recently has had the politics of a developing nation.
Yeah.
Where like
we've grown up, we've seen that change, or it's been around us.
It's like the person in secondary school who's just friends with everyone.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, oh yeah, they can hang out with the GA lads. And they're also Ireland is like that on a global scale, where it's like, oh yeah, we're in the West. But Iran.
Yeah.
Sure, who doesn't love Iran? Or the Soviet Union.
Yeah. Sure, come on. I was going down drinking with them. They're actually nice lads when you get to know them.
Yeah. What? Are we not going to Libya anymore?
Yeah. And then because we get all the benefits of a first world country, but then when people start talking about like colonizing and like the negative effects of all that, we get to sit back and go,
oh, we never did that.
That was terrible. That was terrible. Yeah, the famine. I don't know if you've heard of that, but we're white when it suits us, and then we kind of sit back and be like, all these other countries did terrible things.
Yeah. And
any Irish person that, you know, fought in British armies and did terrible things, they were actually secretly British.
I do believe that.
But any, you know, English person born in England, but who was did something cool and has an Irish grandfather, they were Irish all along.
Yeah, of course they were.
It's a real.
Irish
beautiful.
is a state of mind.
It is, and we get to pick and choose who we want. Yeah,
I do notice how you slumped down in your chair as you went the famine.
Yeah.
And that's I'm going to use that from now on.
Oh yeah, because I can just imagine Ireland, at the UN, just sitting there talking about different things. Then once, you know, if someone starts standing up and talking about the atrocities and negatives of global capitalism, then we get to sit back in our chair and be like, yeah, it is. I stand with them. We have the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
we get to do the like clicky finger support for woke stuff, and then we get to also get all the money from all the other stuff.
And long may it continue.
Long may it. We're stealing a living.
That's what I say.
But this period of the early 90s is when we go from, like Italian. This year, Ireland's going to win the 2026 FIFA World Cup. I think we all acknowledge that.
Oh, yeah.
But going back to the last, like, Italian 90, I've heard it described by older people as, like, the first time happiness came to the island. Which, like, people talk about the 80s. The 80s, unbelievably depressing. Yeah. Massive emigration, huge unemployment. And Italian 90 is kind of like the point where things start to turn around. It's the early start of the Celtic Tiger. But unemployment in 1990, 91 and 92 is at 15%, which is a level it doesn't get to until 2012. So at the height of the recession, unemployment's 15%. And that's just the average for 91, 92 and 90.
That's just acceptable.
That's just that.
Yeah.
We were as broke then as we were at the height of the recession, but people don't.
But people loved it.
People love it, yeah. No one really acknowledges how miserable that time was for people. But from then on, we become...
You don't miss what you don't have, though.
Exactly. That is it, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think that there's something about this as well where, because, you know, you hear a lot in the UK, and you hear it here as well, where people go like, oh, you know, it's impossible to buy a house now, but you bought it for £10 or whatever, blah, blah, blah. At least anyone who bought a house for nothing in 1980s Ireland had to live in 1980s Ireland.
That's right, yeah.
So, like, there, it is swings and roundabouts where you're like, oh, well, You deserved something, you know. The misery was ingrained enough.
Yeah. Whereas like even reading through the period, like the mid 90s, there's so much hope. Like everything's just kind of like there's money flowing in for the first time. We made 2 World Cups in 4 years.
Yeah,
like
that never happened.
Yeah. Like, the Troubles is kind of winding down. 95, Ireland makes it into the quarterfinal of the Rugby World Cup as well. Mm-hmm. First time that Ireland's call is used, apparently.
Oh, okay. Really?
Yeah. But there's just a lot of things, and obviously going back, looking at it, you're kind of cherry picking stuff. There's obviously terrible stuff that happens. Troubles hasn't fully went down at all, and like there's various. But there's an awful lot of the economy is always trajectory.
It does prove the old adage that you can't be good at rugby unless you have an established middle class. That is true. That shows the
because I think even by getting into the quarterfinal, it meant that we had a narrow victory over Wales. We beat Japan and then got beaten by France straight away. Once we got into it, and destroyed by New Zealand on the way there. But so heading into the 95 coalition, so you got Fianna Fáil, Labour. Fianna Fáil, they're getting knocks because of the beef tribunal. Then there's a classic Irish scandal of a who knew what when style thing.
I love those.
Yeah, because there's really beef tribunal like that's glamorous, sexy, international fraud, like loads of things. And then what really brings them then is this kind of Albert Reynolds slightly abuses his power to get someone appointed as an attorney general.
That Wheelahan guy.
And then he. Oh yeah,
So
and then
he's the guy who was like he was trying to make the girl from the project. I was going to say Project X.
The X case.
Yeah, the X case.
Yes.
He was like he was in charge when saying that she should have to go over to England for that, and then he covered up a paedophile scandal.
He dragged his heels. There's a paedophile priest.
Extradition, wasn't it? For Brendan something?
Yeah.
Brendan Smith. I think, because there was two, because there was one initially, and then it came out that they were like, oh, you knew about this? We said, oh, well, not really. And then...
was it the type of scenario where they go, you need to extradite, like you're dragging your heels on this paedophile priest, and then they say a different priest, and they go, what?
It was kind of, I think the North, he wanted to be extradited, the UK wanted to extradite him. He was meant to go up to the North to face crimes, and they weren't sending him back fast enough. And then they were like, oh, there's a load of new laws, we don't really understand how it works. And then someone pointed out to a case very similar where they had done it a couple of years before or something.
Yeah.
Or a couple of
He had
months
already
before. He'd already
apologised,
done it.
and then Labour were happy with that.
Yes.
And then they were like, it came out a couple of days later that he'd done the exact same thing years before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then the realpolitik, which is a fun phrase to say to make it sound like you know what's happening, is that I think in that there was a by-election and the numbers changed and Labour realised that they didn't need Fianna Fáil.
Yeah, Fianna Fáil lose like 10% of their seats.
They know, because I think this is what you're going to say earlier, this is the only time, it's the first and only time where the government switches mid Dáil, I guess. There's no election.
Yeah.
They just, the numbers change because it's by-election and they just form a coalition and switch.
Yeah. And pivotal in this as well is the Democratic left.
Yeah.
Who had like 4 TDs. But you need to look up their logo.
Oh, yeah?
I'd never heard of them before, right? Their logo, I sent it to my brother today, and he had the perfect description of it. Anyone at home, check this up.
Yeah.
My brother said, it looks like the logo of a piano shop. Like, you are just like, who's voting for that? Like,
what would it be called? Democratic Cleft?
Oh, excellent. How did you decide that? Like, that's not even what political party logos look like in Ireland.
Well, that was the point. It's the 90s. It's not it's not. It doesn't look like a political party logo. We're cool.
Your mom's birthday.
Yeah.
And then they just ended up being consumed by Labour at some point.
So again, we only look at this stuff through the lens of Bertie Ahern, but this is the after this. So Bertie, they I think offer. Between those two scandals, they offer Albert Reynolds as a sacrificial lamb. They're like, get rid of him.
Yeah.
I'll be in charge. We'll just keep this all trucking. So they get rid of Albert. Bertie becomes the leader of Fianna Fáil. But then everyone else, who we'll refer to as the Rainbow Coalition, aka cabal of bastards that stab Bertie in the back, so Bertie ascends to the throne. They all turn against him and form a coalition. So now he's out in the cold.
Yeah.
So when he gets back in afterwards, he destroys... because I think Labour is led by Dick Spring, the Democratic left ceases to exist. Everyone who turned against him during this period, Bertie systematically kills over the next couple of years.
It is a great, and I hate Bertie Ahern, right? But he's a
good operator.
Yeah. He's some operator.
He's some operator.
But it's a brilliant little moment of like, he obviously thought he was going to be Taoiseach much sooner.
Yeah.
And then he gets taken down and he's like, Count of Monte Cristo style, like, I won't let you forget this.
Yes.
Oh, like, you haven't seen the last of me.
Oh, yeah.
And then he just, like you said, he just like takes out everyone.
Yeah.
And he comes back in and doesn't have a bank account.
So this is also, the baby doesn't have a bank account, but there's a great line from him. Maybe I still have the audio bed somewhere. He is talking about, I think when he's chief whip or something, and he does an audiobook of his own autobiography. No, sorry, it's a biography, someone else writes it, but he does an audiobook and he's reading a line at some point. He's like, if you go on to go back to the high days, I remember them well. And we can go back there if you want. And I'll come after you and take you out one by fucking one. And it's unbelievable.
If you want to go back to those days, I know every trick in the book. Anyone in this room who wants to come after me, then I'll come after you one by fucking one, and I'll rivet you. I'm going to be here for some time yet, so get used to it.
You mentioned there's a Dick Spring.
Yeah.
Who's a guy
Great
who...
name.
Yeah, and I think... I can't remember what comic has this joke, but it is just true to life that Dick Spring opened a Viagra factory.
He should have been like
Is that true?
He should
That's
be on the
true.
flag.
Yeah.
He played for like the rugby team. He was a GA
Yeah.
player for. He played for Kerry senior team. He played for the national rugby team. He set up a Viagra store.
Yeah.
You're going to
The
his name was Dick.
Yeah.
He's done everything. Like
Dick Spring,
I
that
think
is-
I'm trying to. I think that might be Andrew Ryan might have that joke. But
That feels like a very Andrew Ryan joke.
yeah, but it's true. There's
Yeah.
there's some pharmaceutical plant that was opened in Limerick or something, and they made Viagra, and it says still on it. It said like, "Oh, opened by Dick Spring."
Yeah.
Like how
That-
do you get better than that?
That is amazing. Fucking hell.
Yeah. But this was Ireland changing this Rainbow Coalition.
This is our Arab Spring. It was
Yeah.
just Dick Spring.
Yeah, it was our
This-
Dick Spring.
Yeah.
Because you get Viagra factory open, which might not be during this period, but certainly Dick Spring did it. But
Yeah.
they when and you get the divorce, referendum.
You get Playboy legalized.
Condoms.
Condoms. What happens with condoms? You don't have to be married to.
That they loosen the laws. They don't make it completely legal, but they're basically like they're decriminalizing. You can't sell them, but if you're found them with your like in your possession. But I think that there's because it's the guy who runs O'Malley who does who was in charge of the Progressive Democrats.
Oh yeah.
And then he has to step down because he's the leader of the party, but he refuses to sign into, like, what about we should all have condoms? He's like, no, it's Catholic Ireland. And then the entire party's like, you go away and we're going to be successful.
Yeah. And for any non-Irish listeners, I should tell you everything you know that a party called the Progressive Democrats are like, no.
Well, you still need to be married to have a condom. Well, divorce is, I'm gonna say, the closest referendum the country's ever had.
Yeah,
it literally couldn't be. I have the numbers here.
It's not even a full percent.
No, it's
like
49.72 to 52.28.
Yeah.
But we probably don't talk about the trauma that this did to die-hard Catholics in the country. That in the space of a couple of years, they're like, divorce, condoms, Viagra, all at once. They just keep looking around.
Well, homosexuality decriminalized, I think, in 93 or 94. Yeah. Divorce, condoms, the...
It sounds like we're doing our King Henry VIII. Divorce.
Playboy. Did you ever... I meant to send that to you, actually. There's a great... See Your Video Vaults is a great source, but...
I love that. Love that channel.
Yeah. I think it must be a Jerry Ryan show, actually. But they have like a, person on the street doing vox pops asking them about Playboy in Temple Bar. Did you see that?
No.
No. Yeah. It's pretty funny. Not funny enough to become mainstream, I guess. But it is just, a lot of dubs in the middle of the day talking embarrassed about Playboy.
Yeah. Well, anytime to do those vox pops from back in the day, it's either like Cork or Dingle. So and then they'll go to Dublin and they'll do it right down beside Trinity. So you're getting like children from Dublin, or then like old hardened workers from down the country.
Yeah,
it's like, what's your opinion on this? Isn't it very different?
Yeah, but there is one old, older Dublin woman, and they're asking her would she read Playboy, and she's like, it's not at all. I know enough about sex. I don't need to know anymore. It's like
pretty good.
What do you think sex is?
Yeah.
I would love to see the gap in knowledge between what's available in 1995 Playboy and what a 80-year-old Dublin woman knows about sex.
I'd say you'd be surprised.
I mean, she's 18 children.
Oh yeah.
She knows enough. I think that was the context. Like, I know enough.
Yeah.
I don't want there to be another way I can get pregnant.
You lie on your back and you think of Ireland.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. If you want to listen to more of the episode, head over to Headstuff Plus and the link in the description. Go see Roger's show, Feckin', in the Grand Social on the 17th. And come see our shows in the Culture Date Festival in May. Good luck.